Just take one small action today. Just take another action, the same action maybe tomorrow. Just keep going out there over and over and over again. And before you know it, you will actually end up probably discovering your passion also. So if you want to really become passionate about something and become successful at it, take out that non-negotiable 30, 40, 50 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours every single day and do it for a really long time. Trust me, the longer you go, the less competition you will have. The harder things you choose, less people will be there. Just choosing the hard part, choosing the difficult journey puts you ahead of 95-99% of the people. So do hard things in life to become better and elite and successful and all those things that we seek.
Welcome to this super special episode of the Find Your Ultra podcast. You're about to meet my friend Nishant Bhardwaj. Nishant is so many things. Nishant is an Ironman triathlete, one of the faster ones from India. He's also a coach. He's the founder of Trifantry, which is also a podcast. He's the host of that podcast. He's also a corporate speaker. He's a professor at SP Jain College. And he's also soon to be an author. Nishant came over to Delhi for this conversation and we really had a great time learning about the lesser known aspects of each other's life experiences, and we absolutely loved it, and I'm sure you will too. So let's dive right in. Without further ado, here's Nishant Bhardwaj and me in the Find Your Ultra podcast, episode 39. Indulge away. Nishant, welcome to the Find Your Ultra podcast.
Hi Vipin, thank you so much.
And please welcome me to yours as well, because I think we're going to post this.
Welcome to Trifantry Chronicles, Vipin.
Thank you.
I think we have been waiting to connect and share our thoughts and jam together, I think, for the longest time.
Yeah.
We did try doing this couple of months back, failed miserably due to technical issues.
But we had a good time. We had a good conversation.
Absolutely. We had a couple of drinks as well.
Yeah.
I think jahan cha wahan raha, and as endurance athletes that we are, I think once you set your mind to something, you definitely do it, even if there is a DNF once.
Yeah, yeah, that was a DNF, correct. Yeah, no, so I'm so glad we are finally here and doing this, and a good contrast with the super formal guy who's always decked up and a super casual guy. Looking forward to this conversation. You've been podcasting for a while, and I've seen some of those interviews, and it's great to get those insights of you. And I love your passion about podcasting as well as endurance sports. Yeah. You've been calling people from all kinds of endurance sports, so not just triathletes. You're a triathlete yourself. I mean, those who watch your interview don't really get to know you every time. You probably would have shared bits of you in different conversations, but let's get to know Nishant a little bit more. I learned quite a few things about you in our last meeting. Let's begin with this. What's the mission that you're on currently and why?
Jumping right into the deep waters. Thank you once again, Vipin, for having me. And as you can see, I'm wearing a suit. The identity that has become part of my social side of it. But, that was never the idea to wear only suits, or some people might recognize me from one of those marathon in suit pictures. I'm the only Indian to have run multiple full marathons, 42.2 kilometers in a full business suit, both times at Tata Mumbai Marathon. The idea was simple. This was January 2020, pre-COVID, world was fine. A lot of events were happening. I thought, why not use this as a platform to get more of corporate people to marshal towards their health and fitness. So my idea, my funda was simple. Despite the constraints in your life, despite the paucity of time, despite the stress of your job, despite how difficult everything around you can be, you can still take out some time to work out. And if you can work out only for 1 hour a day, 5 hours a week, only 250 hours in the entire year, you can get any kind of fitness levels whatsoever. You can build a freaking body. You can run a half marathon. You can run a full marathon. You can even do a half Ironman distance with just 250 hours in the entire year. So that was the idea. There was no, it was not done out of intention of getting some kind of publicity stunt or getting some views and all of that. That did happen, but that was never the objective. Probably because happened, suddenly there are about 55,000 people running, struggling to finish a particular distance, 5, 10, 15, 21K, 42K. Suddenly you see a guy running a full marathon at 30 kilometers spot, and you see a guy in blue suit or gray suit running 42 with you with a bib on, and that was kind of a sight to see. So I think that's how it started, and that's the mission. Mission is simple: get your ass out of your office, wherever you are, just start working out, and do not give excuses about stress and job and this and that.
Any form of workout.
I love people who work out, and the rule I give most people is a half sweat t-shirt rule, that if your workout has not given half a sweat of your t-shirt, then it's not a workout. With all due respect to all forms of movement and fitness and mobility, just make sure that you're sweating it out, getting all the toxins out of your body, just getting that endorphins, serotonin, oxytocins getting released in your body. That's the idea.
Amazing. I love that mission. Going back a little bit, let us get to know what's your journey been like. Where were you born, raised, and what was your childhood like? And
Sure.
you're an army kid, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So, I mean, my dad was colonel in the army. My mom was joint secretary in the government of Haryana. So both of them were working parents. And despite that, I was raised in an army environment. I did my schooling from 9 different schools across the country, right from Dehradun to Pachmadi to Siliguri to Chandigarh to Pune to Chennai. So a lot of places across the country. I've even studied in a school called Nalanda Vishwavidyalaya, which is the oldest university, because my dad got posted to Pachmadi during mid-year, and we could not get admission in the mid-year session. So we got admission in that Nalanda Vishwavidyalaya, where we used to sit by the river and have the classes for about 6 months, and then we moved to the next grade. So I've studied in Kendriya Vidyalayas, army school, army public school, convent schools, government schools, you name any kind of schools. That's been my upbringing. And that's, I think, was the starting point of my overall professional, personal self-discovery journey. Because, when you have so much, some people might call it uncertainty, that every year, 2 years, you're moving to different places.
Yeah.
And unlike now, where you have all the connectivity in the world, there was no internet, there were no phones.
Yeah.
You had landlines and stuff. Not that we are that old, but we did start as a landline generation.
Correct.
I think I was always exposed to all kinds of sports during my early childhood. And I had a younger brother as well. His name was Ishan. We lost him to blood cancer when he was just 10 and a half. I was 12. That was kind of traumatic time in my life. I mean, I've never spoken about this, but maybe a lot of trauma, a lot of emotions which were sort of buried deep. And I kind of started gaining weight from there. I was in just 7th class. When we lost Ishan, he was in 5th. And I was also just 12 years old, right? So as a 12-year-old kid, you don't know a lot of things. And for the next 4 or 5 years, I was gaining tremendous amount of weight. In fact, by the time I passed out of 12th class, I became obese category 2. And I was not fully grown. I was 16 and a half, 17, probably 5'8", 5'9". I'm 6'2" now. And I was just a 17-year-old boy who was 113 kilos.
Wow.
This is 2005. And I think that was the tipping point where it all started. My dad was posted in Srinagar that time. And I remember after my 12th class, you get those 20 din ki chutti, right? So we went to Srinagar cantonment area. And I was just 17. And my dad probably was 40 that time, and maybe 45. And a lot of our Sahayak Bhaiyas started thinking that I am my dad's chota bhai or something like. And that was traumatic. I was called like that. Ki saab ke chote bhai aaye hain. And that could be like a very traumatic thing, right? And I was, honestly, in their defense, I was fat. Let's not mince words here. Fat is fat. I was obese, I was fat, low self-esteem, a lot of struggles, image issues, and all kinds of things that happen to you in teenage. Plus the heaviness of being ugly and fat, and all. Not that it is wrong or bad in any way to the listeners. It's fine. But that's when I started.
But that was your self-image, is what you're saying. Fat.
Yeah, that was my image of me. Very low confidence. I mean, I think when you have certain limitations in your life, and when you start overthinking about it over and over and over again, and they become like your handicap, and you start obsessing about it, it just becomes your self-image. And that's what happened to me. I was in a dark place, and I had just lost my younger brother also. So those 5-6 years, I think, were really bad as a young teenager. Then my dad took me under his wings. This was 2005 in Srinagar. I still remember that incidents very vividly, because I don't know, something happened that day. It was very cold. My mom was there. We were in a army officer's mess. My dad came home from his office with his briefcase, wearing the entire Fauj ki fatigue, full uniform and everything. And he said, Nishant, enough is enough. Let's I will train you. I will teach you. I want you to learn 3 things from me. And that day, and I still remember it. I think I might even remember the dates. And this was 2005. This was 25th, 26th of March 2005. After the exams, 12th exams and all, he told me, after coming from the office, we had lunch, sat down in the mess, and he told me, I'm going to teach you 3 things. You have to follow them for the next 1 year, and then come back to me on the same dates on 1st of April 2006. And if it doesn't work, you can stop it, continue to do whatever you want to do. That's what he said to me. And he said 3 things. I will teach you how to run. I said, I can't even walk. I'm like fat. I was genuinely fat, right? If you remember, Family Number 1, there we used to watch a DD1, DD2 पे एक Family Number 1 करके आता था. उसमें एक character था तूफान, who was like the biggest, bulkiest fatso in the family, and everyone was like tiny bit. I was like that. I might even have some pictures. I'll send it to you sometime. He said, I will teach you 3 things. Number 1 is running. I don't mind how much you run, but I will teach you how to run. Number 2 is I want you to go and lift weights in the gym. And third thing is, I will teach you what to eat and what not to eat. But you have to follow these 3 things. I'm telling you as a father, you have to do this for the next 1 year. And then come back to me if it doesn't work. That was the day when I decided blindly, and I was shattered because I was just called by bhaiyas. Like, I was compared to a 45-year-old man when I was just a teenager, 16-17 saal ka. And I started my journey from there. I remember hitting the gym thrice a day, twice a day. From there itself, he taught me the relationship with food. First time ever, while I had read it in my biology books, what are micronutrients, but he taught me, actually picked up the food groups. This is fiber, this is fat, this is good, this is bad. Like a kid you teach, no, this is triangle, this is circle, that kind of, he taught me the basics of lifting weight. And then he taught me how to start running by walk jog techniques. 100 meters is pole to pole, bhago, walk karo, bhago. These 3 things. And trust me, by the end of 31st of March 2006, I lost 32 kilos of weight in 1 year just by listening to my dad's 3 things, which is about lifting weights, running, and relationship. That's when my journey started, 2005, and never stopped. It's been over 19 years since I've been doing it, and just loving every single day of it.
Right. That's amazing. It's an amazing transformation story. I'm thinking about the average person who's being somebody who's always, pretty much all my life, struggled with weight. There are phases that you go through, you lose a little bit of weight, you gain it back. And so there are people with that struggle. There are some people who, in one attempt, like bulldoze their way through it and then never, and hats off to them. Like, it's not like you've had it easy. You've just been disciplined after that and various other things you've done. But, there are certain mental struggles and various other things due to which people, cannot get past a certain threshold. So they start and they fail, and then they start and then they fail. Let's say your father gave you those mantras, right? And you started. Being overweight, it must have been very difficult for you, and you would have felt like giving up and not going. Like, how did you sort of get over that?
Absolutely knockout question, Vipin. I think, see, if you look at it, these are not new concepts, right? Telling you how to run like 1K, 2K, 5K, ya fir lift weight, ya fir eat well. These are, in itself, they are not like any जादू की छड़ी, और they are not mantras which you ऐसे on off switch नहीं है. ये ऐसा मिल गया, you have a pudi and then next day you transformed. These are broad concepts, and we are still learning about them. People have been learning about it from last 10,000 years. And I'm sure most broadly, these principles will remain the same till the next phase of human evolution happens. So I think the concepts were there, and I started learning only by practicing it more and more. But coming to the other question, which is, see, if you have reached at a certain stage and age in your life, and you've reached a certain, any position or any aspirational summit of life, which most people want. It could be finances, health, fitness, relationships, monies, power, anything for that matter. What I've realized is that it's the journey, and it's everyone starts out the same. Some might have talent, some might have resources, some might have whatever, x amount of wealth, x amount of things, a starting point. But at the end of the day, it's a one step at a time kind of a journey. Every single day you have to keep showing up, keep showing up, keep showing up. And only after you've taken the first 10 steps and the 50 steps and the 100 steps and the 1,000 steps, and then every day after that, only then you can actually reach at a summit of life or summit of that particular field. And to the people who are suffering from mental issues or not at the right place, not able to find motivation, to them I would really earnestly request that probably, let's do a lot of self introspection and look at it. What is stopping me? Is it my attitude that is stopping me? Is it that I've given up on life? Let's list it down. Let's just take up a pen and paper and let's see what is stopping us, those 10, 20, 30 things. I dare you today that once you start writing those 20 reasons that are stopping you, you will not be able to find more than 10 reasons that are actually stopping you. So all the demons, all the limitations, the barriers, the speed breakers that you've put in your mind are actually only in your mind. Nobody is stopping you to go out there and just put in one day's work. So that being the umbrella concept, but the micro concept is not feeling like it, don't want to work out, or don't want to read this book, don't know where to start about your building your wealth. Just start by going out for 10 minutes. Just go out, just get ready, go out, just go for a walk, run from one pillar to another. That's step one. And now do it 10 times, then stop, sip some water, then go again. When it comes to a book, you will not be able to read 200 pages. You don't want to, because you have 300 pending reels to watch and other things to do. Let's start with just 2 pages. Reading 2 pages will require less than 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Let's go one by one. And the success mantra here is only one thing, that if you really want to do something, set one non-negotiable time in a day for which दुनिया में चाहे earthquake आ जाए, flood आ जाए, कुछ भी हो जाए, call हो जाए, anything happens, you will not give up on that time. That 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, take out for learning that skill, for giving it to your body, for giving it to your mind, or skill, some software you want to learn, AI you want to learn, wealth you want to create. Just take out some 30 minutes. It could be best things are done in the morning. Try to finish it off first thing in the morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, before the day takes over. Just finish it off in the morning. You will win, and start stacking your wins one day at a time. And the concept of 1, 10, 100,000, what I was just speaking about, you will be amazed to see the progress that you will make only in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And that's what I believe.
I think that's a super important point about getting clarity. You mentioned when you do some introspection and write down the sort of things that are holding you back.
Right.
I think that's sort of there is something about gaining clarity, because I journal and I do have these thoughts every now and then. Yeah, one of the thoughts was lack of clarity leads to inaction, and inaction leads to feelings of lack of self-worth. And that leads to unhappiness eventually. So lack of clarity eventually leads to unhappiness and various other things.
Yeah.
When you get clarity, like you said, these are the things that you need to address. There's no escaping. You're bound to take action.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think
Let me flip the question now and ask from the perspective of Trifantry Chronicle.
Sure.
So this is a question which I ask right at the beginning, and since we are still setting up the context,
Sure.
and you've known everything about me, about so many of my aspects, I want to ask you. You are a ultra endurance runner. You have done multiple 100-milers, 100 kilometers, so many races, and some of them you have done barefoot as well. How did you? Let's go back about your background and how did you get started on your running journey?
Okay, so for one clarification, I've not done multiple 100-milers. I've only done 100 miler.
Okay.
I've done multiple 100
Ks.
Yeah,
okay.
and a 200K as well. But my journey began a long time ago and over a decade now. And I started running to lose weight. And as I ran more, I realized losing weight has a lot to do with nutrition. So I've recently studied nutrition as well. And yeah, I'm still on that journey. But as I started running, I realized that there is a lot more that my body is capable of, and I could go longer and longer and longer. And I was, fascinated by the ability of my body to go longer. So I wanted to explore longer distances and see how long I can go. So after half marathons, 50Ks, 100Ks, and then 100 miles, and then
when was your first race? How did you start? Why running? When did you first run?
My uncle, who's a volleyball coach for the national women's team, he told me that you have to to lose weight, you have to burn a lot of calories, and running burns maximum amount of calories. I think more than cycling, more than swimming. It burns a lot of calories. And he said some concept which is probably wrong. He said 20-25 minute के बाद fat burning चालू होती है. That's what I had heard. मैं कहा ठीक है तो 20-25 तो भागना ही है उससे ज़्यादा. So
this was which year?
This must be really early. So I say 10 years of running has been since I ran my first event, but I've been running before that.
Okay.
Never timed, never with a watch. Just
same here.
First event would be in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, I've spoken on my podcast a couple of times about it, so I'll be very quick about this. I wasn't sure what a marathon is. I just saw a bus passing by and I went home and Googled what a marathon is and I signed up for it. But I realized you get a medal at the end of it. I didn't know you get a medal as well. So I thought, okay, but 42 kilometers is a lot, dude. Like, मैं आधा पौना घंटा 1 घंटा भाग लेता था तो मुझे लगता था कि challenge है तो कर सकते हैं. But I didn't, because I wanted the medal, because you're paying for it as well. So I medal तो चाहिए तो एक half का भी option है. I signed up for the half, but I was going to do a marathon because ये पहली और आखिरी बार कर रहा हूँ ये मैं चीज़. That was in my head, and I signed up for the half, showed up for the full. So on the event day I saw so many people. For the first time I'm at an event, and I started running. I ran the half for the first time ever. 2 घंटे 2.5 घंटे में कुछ half हो गई, and I was like. आधा तो हो गया, आधा ही बचा है, and and the journey after the first 21 became the second loop became very, very difficult, and every passing kilometer felt like forever. And I conveniently stepped aside around 28 kilometers that I can't do this. And then there was this senior lady, must be in her 60s, was running past, and she saw me and saw me with the bib. And she was like, why aren't you running? I said, I'm not finishing. And she didn't listen to me. She grabbed me by the hand and she said, come with me. So I ran with her, and I was like, auntie, kab tak bhagengi? Chal leta hu saath mein. Wo dheere dheere bhag rahi thi, and I ran with her slowly for a bit. And then, I gave up again around 38 kilometers or something because my body was finished. Because you know what a marathon is, right? I was dead. But then on the horizon, I could see people on both sides of the road starting to clap for you, and I was like, okay, ye nayi cheez hai. This is very different. So then I continued running with her, and eventually we finished in, I don't know, 5 hours something, 5.5 hours maybe. And she finished and went to the left, and I finished and I went to the right. And there were great scenes on the left because she, like I said, she was in her 60s. Her family was there, and they lifted her, and she was crying. Family was crying. There were great scenes all over. And here I was on the right with nobody there, and I was limping, hobbling my way, and I was overcome with so many emotions. I was crying non-stop, and which was strange. Why I couldn't understand and process those emotions. What were they about? एक बात तो क्लियर लग रही थी कि आई हैव डन समथिंग स्पेशल. मुझे फील हो रहा था कि इतना बड़ा चैलेंज शायद मैंने लाइफ में कभी नहीं किया था. एंड yeah, it did feel like winning an Olympic gold medal to me. And And looking at those scenes, I was like, where's my family and where's everybody? And यहाँ नहीं हो तो सारे मर जाओ, मुझे कोई परवाह नहीं, because you needed to be here. This is the most special moment ever. Then I cried and hobbled to my car, and then I sat in my car and cried my guts out for half an hour there, and then went home eventually, because it was a deep experience. And then I was done with it. Like, मेडल लेके मैं घर चला गया था. हाफ मैराथन का मेडल था, बट आई हैड रन अ फुल. आई नो इट. मेडल हाफ का, सर्टिफिकेट भी हाफ का है, बट आई न्यू व्हाट आई हैड डन, and that was the end of it. So every time somebody would ask, when is your next marathon, I was like, no, like, और भी काम है भाई लाइफ में, ये थोड़ी करना है. I had to achieve this, and I've achieved it, and never again. So I didn't run for a year and a half, nothing at all. And so, which is why this is the wrong way to get into running. And but that was my introduction to.
Wow. They say that real men don't cry. Clearly, those men have never run a marathon. Those real men that they talk about, especially from the north, they should definitely run at least a half marathon. They'll realize what pain is and what emotions is. Great story, Vipin. I think clearly a message that comes out of this story is everyone should try to run at least one full marathon in their life. It will change them, the way they perceive life, the way they see things, the way they know the limitations that we have put in our minds and our eyes will be completely shattered and broken, and you'll be able to discover so many things about yourself that you never knew. And I, in fact, invite everyone, if you are listening to this through any of the mediums on social media, if not a full marathon, just enroll yourself for a half marathon 6 months from now. And train for it. When you train for it, that journey will change you. That finish line will be a culmination of your journey. So it will change you completely, and clearly that's how I think it changed you for good, and here we are.
In the Ironman journey as well, like they say, it's not what you've achieved, it's who you've become in the process. So in your journey, Nishant, your relationship with your father has been pivotal, and there was a moment, like one was about your fitness, but about the Ironman. Please share that.
So this was 2018, right after my marriage. Dad was detected with stage 4 lung cancer. This was July 2018. He was, by the way, a colonel in the army, got retired in 2012 at a very young age, I think 55, 56. Then he was principal and director of ITFT group of colleges. So ultra fit guy, always a 5 a.m. person, vegan, no non-alcoholic, non-smoker, non-drinker. He never touched a single drop of alcohol, smoke, or anything for that matter. He was a vegetarian from last, I think, since we lost Ishan, 1999. So, I mean, the kind of person you would put in the frame for being the best at everything. If you do this, probably you will be guaranteed for living a long life. But that was not the case. Probably life had some other plans, and suddenly, out of nowhere, he was detected as at stage 4 lung cancer at the age of 60, and doctors unfortunately gave him only 6 months to live, because it was that kind, metastasis, spreading fast, and that's usually the case for adenocarcinoma, 6 to 12 months max, and his case was 6 months. But he, like, not a single day he cried, not a day when he was diagnosed, gave up, or even had a wrinkle on his forehead. He was that strong. And we kept fighting. He went through so many chemotherapies, so many for 6 months, and survived. Like, then doctors gave him another year. So during that time, this was January 2019, if I remember correctly, Ironman was announced in the country. First time, Ironman 70.3 Goa, inaugural year. And I thought, let me register for it. And as a symbolic gesture, maybe motivate him, that let me do an Ironman. And I think I registered for it in February 2019. And I had about 7 months to prepare for it. And I did not even have a cycle. I think I just bought a cycle, and I did not know how to swim. So I took it as a challenge and told him that, Dad, you have always encouraged me for doing all kinds of things. And he was the kind of person who always encouraged me to take part in every damn thing. When I was in school, in different schools, he used to make me participate in everything, all kinds of sports activities, declamation, debate, news, head boy, vice captain, everything, prefect. I used to do everything every year. So he was always encouraging. So I thought, let me encourage him and tell him that let me do this and you continue to fight this and I'm with you. So let's motivate each other.
Wow.
And this kind of, may not seem as a big thing for a lot, but for us, the two of us, it kind of was. And I also discovered that I love my parents even more. I always did. I respect my parents, love my parents, and I'm blessed. I feel blessed to have had my parents, and I still have my mom. And I feel that everyone should, love their parents and do whatever you can in your capacity. It could be a gesture, it could be a day-to-day mark of respect, or just being there. They don't want anything from you. Just be there for them, just smile with them. Just maybe even a 15 minutes conversation with your parents might just make their entire day, because for them you are still a baby. So imagine a baby coming up and saying that Papa, I'll do an Ironman for you, was a kind of a thing for him to hold on to, right? A hope.
Yeah.
So I started learning without zero swimming. I was supposed to swim 2 kilometers in the ocean, do 90 kilometers of bike, and then 21 kilometers of marathon, half marathon.
Yeah.
Running was fine. It was not a problem. Cycling was something brand new because I had never cycled after my maybe 9th, 10th class. So I had not cycled in last 20 years, 15 years maybe. So I bought a new cycle, brand new, entry level one, 30,000, 35,000 from Decathlon, between 520. And I started because I thought कि चलो cycling and swim तो कर लेंगे, अब swimming का कैसे करेंगे? And I was shit scared of water. I was always scared of water. I could not even go to the swimming pool and just relax, because I was never relaxed. My heart rate was very high. So I thought it's a challenge for me also. So I started watching YouTube videos. And for a month I watched, this was again March.
February you had signed up.
February I had signed up, and एक महीना ऐसे निकल गया cycle और run करते, and I didn't know how to do. And this was only 6-7 months from now.
Right.
So I started watching YouTube videos, and after a month, and I still have those pictures. If I tell you, I was so shit scared. I used to put up those buoys, floating things, just to be able to float on a shallow side. I'm 6'2", man. So this is embarrassing. I had 5-6-year-old kids next to me in the pool who were like swimming, and I was like shit scared. I used to literally cry of being scared. But a month passed, and every day I used to watch YouTube videos in my free time, 1 hour of swimming videos. Every single day, one hour. And I learned swimming after that in a month just by watching YouTube videos. I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
I mean, I overcame my fear. I started swimming, and another month passed by, and then I signed up with a coach to do a triathlon. This was April 2019. So 6 months before the race, I thought, chalo, swimming, cycling, running individually seek liya. And I spoke with a lot of people. I have this thing about, if I want to approach something, it could be a challenge or anything, I want to reach out to the best coaches, the best people, mentors, so that I can learn and not make mistakes that normal people would.
Right.
The teachers, coaches, mentors, people who have been there, done that, kind of help you to avoid at least 70 to 80% of the mistakes which a normal person will most definitely make. 100% you will make those mistakes. So I thought, I don't have a lot of time. Let me reach out, and reached out to one of the coaches based out of Pune. So that's when my journey actually started, end of April. But by then I had learned how to swim 200-300 meters really badly, but whatever. And then we kept on training. I kept on, every day I used to train, and I used to share, wake up at 5 o'clock, send a message to him. And he also used to wake up at 5, make sure that, we are up. And he was always a 5 a.m. person. And the chemotherapies actually used to make him lose his sleep and all. So he was literally awake throughout the night, throughout the day. So he was always awake. So I would wake up, I will send him some good morning message. He would send me, he used to write such long messages. Good morning, I wish you have a beautiful training day. Make sure you hydrate well, do this, do that. Then he used to write message for my mom, for my wife. you guys have this, and long messages beautifully. I still have those and I cherish them, read them. And come race day, this was 22nd October 2019, I participated and I finished the swim. I came out. Before entering the water, I was crying because of being scared of water. But after coming out of the water also, I cried a lot because I never knew that I could swim. And I actually finished the swim in 52 minutes, which is not bad for a first timer.
Yeah.
Then cycled, and on the bike I fell badly, had back injury and shit. But I did not give up because I knew that I have to do it for him. I was in excruciating pain. Went to the meds, took whatever was available, spray, this, that. Then went and ran and finished the race in, I think, 6:53 or something. So my debut. And
Goa is a challenging one.
Yeah, and I cried and I told Pritika, my wife, to call dad, and we video called him, and he was so happy. And that's the story. So that's the story how I got into triathlons. And then dad kept on fighting. Ultimately, we lost him. He fought for another 2.5, 3 years after that, despite doctors giving him only first 6 months in the first phase and then another 6 to 12 months on. But he fought for 4 years. So we lost him on 15th May 2022 last year due to metastasis of lung cancer into bones and then brain and all of that. But if this story has to be summed up, if you have love and if you have hope, I think you can do anything. You can defy science. You can defy fears. You can overcome pain. You can overcome chemo, cancer, all of that.
Yeah.
So just have hope in your life and just have love. I think with love and hope, you can conquer anything.
Yeah. What an amazing story. I'm really sorry that you lost him last
year.
year.
He's there watching us right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but no, it's listen to the story. My heart is full. It's and what an amazing reminder for those of us who have parents. And in fact, I'm just thinking ahead of time, and my parents are leaving today on a holiday.
Oh.
And I want to get back in time if traffic allows me, and because it just reminds me, I haven't spoken to them in about a week. We live in the same building, same house, same building, not the same house, but different floor. But I haven't spoken to them in a while.
I think, we might become Gen Zs, millennials, or fast-growing economy, or whatever we want, modern. Did I just say modern? Modern, or whatever, we might have new loved ones in our lives, but always remember where you came from, and you came from your parents, and you have a beautiful young daughter now.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure you cannot even think like a day or second, an hour without her. And I think we always remain our
Why
kids.
Are you reminding me all of the things that want to
cry, man.
Get home.
No.
With such precious things.
Your parents, I think, please, guys, today, if you're watching this now, you may stop it and go home, but just go and pick up the phone and call your parents. Tell them you love them. Trust me, just pick up the phone. Just tell your mom that you love her. Tell your dad that you love her. Nothing else matters. They really need it more than you do. You probably have everything, but they really need it because you are the hope and you are the love that I was talking about.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what to say. I'm just too full right now.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let's stay in the topic.
Sure.
Let's slightly bring it a notch down. So let me ask you a controversial question now about your shoes. You are quite peculiar about the attire that you run in, like I am. I think we are two peas in a pod, but in a different pod.
Yeah.
Most of your runs, long runs, and you have been proponent of running barefoot as well as in shoes as well, and Luna sandals as well.
Yeah.
What is the difference between these three? And someone who's watching us for the very first time, who's an early adopter of running, what do they do? What is the right footwear for them? And how do they sort of protect themselves from the barrage of thousands of brands that are coming in every single day? You have the shoe height getting increased, number of layers of carbons getting increased, vapor this and zoom that and all of that. What is your take on it? And be brutally honest.
I don't think we need shoes.
You don't think you need shoes?
Yeah.
You just killed $100 billion industry of apparels and shoes.
Yeah. But I still run in shoes as well as barefoot. And I run in shoes simply because the surfaces around are not always conducive to barefoot running or even minimalistic running a lot of the time. And so, some of the races you just can't imagine doing in minimalist footwear.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. But
trail running, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not easy.
Even like Bhati Trail in Delhi is a walk in the park. It's not a very difficult trail.
Okay.
But it has sections where you just can't do barefoot.
Okay.
Even in shoes, you get a lot. Like in my first 100K, I got a lot of blisters.
Despite wearing shoes.
Despite wearing shoes, yeah. But I mean, I've learned about barefoot running through my friend Milind Soman, Abhishek Mishra, who lives in Gurgaon itself. These guys have been running barefoot for the longest time. I've been doing this last long run with Milind Soman for the last several years, and this is the first year I'm going to be missing out. I think.
What is the last long run?
So last long run is a concept that Abhishek and Milind started, which basically is we travel to a destination and we run from one city to another.
Okay.
We start the run on the 30th December morning. We run all day on 30th, and then we sleep for the night. Let's stay for the night. Then
on 30th December.
30th December every year. And 31st December morning again, we begin the run from where we left off. And then we finish at a different city. And it's invariably a beautiful location all the time. And then we celebrate the New Year there.
That's New Year's Eve.
That's New Year's Eve.
So starting at 12 o'clock at night, 30th of December.
Yeah.
Then finishing off.
No. 30th December morning we begin. So we don't run at night.
Okay.
Safety issues and various other things.
Okay. So 30th morning you start. It's a longish run. You typically run how many?
So typically it's a 120 kilometer run. So 60 kilometers on 30th.
Okay. Day one.
60 and sometimes.
Last long run. So that's been your tradition from last 7 years.
Yeah. So we've run. We run at some beautiful locations like. I think Una to Dharamshala in Himachal. Then the following year we ran in Sri Lanka, Colombo to Unawatuna.
Wow.
And the following year was in Japan, Tokyo to Mount Fuji.
Wow.
It's always gorgeous. And then, Northeast and Rajasthan, various other places. So, and this year it's happening in Tanzania.
Oh, wow.
I'm missing out because this year I've had a terrible year. I just had a surgery.
Yeah.
So, But anyway, coming back to the point. So I spent a lot of time with Milind on all these runs and we do discuss various things. And because Milind runs barefoot or in minimalist footwear wherever he can, and so does Ankita. Ankita is a great friend of mine. Better friend of mine than Milind. But
Ankita is Milind's wife.
Yeah, so both these run barefoot. And Milind keeps trying to convince me of the fact that he said... So a couple of things that I am also already convinced about is the fact that when you run barefoot, you are running more natural. So a couple of things happen. One, when I started running, people had been telling me कि soft landing karo, hard landing mat karo. I never understood soft landing. क्यों करनी है, कैसे करनी है? Because I've got cushion in my shoes and that protects me and gives me no feedback about my wrong, heel strike and various other things. Barefoot चालू करोगे आप heel strike करोगे, आपका धक यहाँ फील होती है सर में. It sends a message up your body that you're landing wrong. है ना? तो heel strike नहीं करके दूसरा soft landing होती है. तो because you're barefoot, पत्थर वत्थर का you're very mindful, right? You do not go dum like you can do with the shoes. Barefoot
probably not even looking at the road half the time.
Exactly. और यहाँ पे you're always mindful, so you're landing soft. कि अगर कंकर पत्थर पे आएगा भी तो बहुत जोर से नहीं land होगा. Right?
Okay.
So that helps a lot in soft landing and helps correct your form, right? And cadence you'll see automatically. आप छोटे कदम लोगे और आपका cadence भी improve होगा और आप soft landing भी होगी और heel strike नहीं होगी. तो shoes were invented just because of this, right? So Milind keeps on saying this that human beings when we run, अगर हम गलत भाग रहे हैं, वो your knees are giving in because you're landing wrong. उन्होंने क्या किया कि भाई आपको जो गलत लैंडिंग हो रही है उसको फिक्स करने के लिए शूज बना दिए और कुशन दे दिया ताकि आपको उसका फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. सो नाउ यू आर सेइंग यू आर अकाउंटिंग फॉर एन एरर इंस्टेड ऑफ फिक्सिंग द एरर. यू आर सेइंग ये कर लो, एरर का नुकसान कम होगा.
Correct.
That's not the best way, right?
That's the prescriptive way of solving a problem rather than correcting it in the first place.
Absolutely. And then you read about the Born to Run book, the Tarahumara tribes and all those guys. They've been running for forever barefoot, and they never get injured. So it is the shoes that do cause all those injuries.
Really?
Yeah. But if we if we go long enough, and there are arguments on both sides. A lot of elites do need. Maybe if you're in the top 10% of the performers, maybe you do need them. I'm not there. I've never experienced that sort of a life.
But do you? Let me ask you another thing. Follow-up question. Then do you think that barefoot runners cannot be fast runners? Can they be sub 3 hours, sub 2.5 hour runners as well?
So
barefoot.
So I'm forgetting the name, but the Indian record for marathon is 2 hours 10 minutes something. And the name begins with S, and it's just so silly of me to forget the name. It was made barefoot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they can definitely be fast runners. And there are a lot of fast runners, I know, who run barefoot. Yeah. So they can be. I mean, you just have to train.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but like I'm a newbie and I've just joined a group and I'm seeing all kinds of fancy brands.
Yeah.
And it is very easy to get swayed by certain brands, right? You have Nikes, Adidas, Reeboks, Pumas, and Asics, and 100 other brands.
Yeah.
And nothing against any brand, right? But where do I begin? Like, you would hardly find 1 in 100 kind of runners, not even 1 in 100, probably 1 in 1,000 who's a barefoot runner. When you don't have access to information, when you don't have enough influencers to sort of guide you towards barefoot running, then what do I make of it?
Yeah, I think in today's times, and AI is here. I was just going to say Google, but we can Google, and there's plenty of information about available about barefoot running and stuff like that. As far as shoes are concerned, I'll be very honest, I'm not an expert, and I'm sure there are experts. I know some people who know a lot about shoes, zero drop and this and that, and I've tried various kinds, and I've tried various brands as well. I'm currently wearing Hoka's, and that's sort of extreme, right? So barefoot se leke like really thick sole. But I'm not an expert on shoes. I'll be very honest. But if you want to learn about barefoot running, Born to Run is a great book, and there are so many talks available on the internet about barefoot running.
Okay. So, like as a beginner, we all, I think, because now we don't even walk barefoot in the house, right? We have all kinds of chappals and whatnot. We are never barefoot except for when we are sleeping on the bed. Is there a starting point, like a 2 or 3 step thing? How do you start your first few runs? Or can we like experiment when we are doing those slow runs once a week or something like that? What is your prescription around it?
Yeah, so the way I was taught about this is exactly this. You begin with barefoot walking, maybe your recovery walk. So after you're done with the long run, or every workout really should be accompanied by a warm up and a cool down, right? So maybe your cool downs can become, barefoot, and you slowly, very slowly, you begin to pick up. And maybe barefoot, having barefoot sandals, or
these lunas,
or what are those called? Vibram 5 fingers. Those having those can also be very beneficial because we don't always have the surfaces. But having said all of that, walking on the grass is one of the best feelings ever. Like I absolutely love it. And there's something about the contact with the ground. I'm barefoot all the time, like even at home.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you have your spouse or your mom tell you wash your feet and all of that?
Dant padti hai subah se sham tak, but that's how I like. I cannot wear footwear at home. Like I'm wearing it now here. But.
Yeah, I think a lot to reflect for people once and for all around the debate was like, if you ask Vipin, then I think barefoot run or assisted barefoot Vibrams and Lunas might be the way to go.
Yeah.
So I have always wondered, ultra running is obviously elite. You spend probably 10, 15, 20 hours while you're doing your 100 Ks or 100 milers. And both of us know a lot of people who do 200 milers also, 250, 300 milers also.
Yeah.
God bless them.
Oh, yeah.
The training regimen would typically involve probably 4x, 5x distance as well, right? What is your regimen like? What goes through your training program? How do you plan for 6 months in advance when you're looking at such races? How does it look like month on month, week on week?
Oh, like I said, this year has been terrible, so I don't feel much like a runner.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I've been training for 100K and 100 mile races, it is not very typical of, it does not resemble the training for a half marathon or a full marathon, because you have to put in a lot of hours. So you train in different ways. You train for time on feet, and every run has a different purpose. But one thing is broadly speaking, it's of course depends on where you're coming from, what your conditioning has been like, but if I were to do broad strokes sort of training template, then the rule about the race distance being the weekly mileage sort of has worked well for me.
Okay, so race distance being the weekly mileage. So if you're doing 100K, try to hit 100 kilometers
a week,
but not from the first couple of months itself.
Yeah, of course,
you have to build it up.
You do, a build up for sure. Like I said, depends on where you're coming from. A lot of the ultra runners, and I had also been like that. Our mileage does not dip much, so we are we have a maintenance mileage of 300 to 350 to 400 kilometers.
Oh wow!
So yeah, you're around that mark anyway. We just need to up it a little bit when a race is coming up. Sorry, just to add to that, we have to train in weird ways, because if you're, let's say, training for 100 miler, you will definitely be spending some time at night for sure. And we do night runs. So I was going to interview somebody, Meenal Kotak. She's one of the leading ladies of Indian ultra running.
Okay.
She just went to the US and won a 3-day race. She won a race in the US, an Indian lady. Can you believe that? Yeah. She's been around, but she's off social media, and that's why a lot of people don't know about her. Yeah. You should definitely have her on your podcast.
Sure.
Well. So when Meenal,
shout out to you.
Yeah, shout out to Meenal. And so when Meenal was training for Indian teams, she was chosen to represent India in ultra running.
Sure.
So Meenal and another friend of hers were training for the national team. We were running to support them.
Okay.
So there's this loop around Nehru Park. 1 kilometer का loop है. वहाँ पे embassy area, so it's safer at night. It's just 1 kilometer. वहाँ पे हम गाड़ी लगाते हैं और we run all night. 12 घंटे, 13 घंटे, and we've done 16 घंटे की runs in training there.
My God.
Yeah.
Don't the guards sort of get alerted, or they?
No, so the guards know all of that. Guards will protect you. So it's sort of safe for girls also to run around that area.
Wow. You would tell them that we are going to be running here. We are not a threat.
Everybody in the area knows her definitely, and some of us as well by now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So वो गाड़ी में हमारा aid station होता है. उसमें जो भी है chips है, all of that food that we need is there, and then we are just doing loops of that for the night. And there's this really interesting incident that I shared in another podcast with Alfie. Meenal को 16 घंटे की रन करनी थी. That was the mandate, right? And
16 घंटे.
Yeah. So we were running with her, and like we didn't have a purpose. It was Meenal's training, right? So we were only supporting. So Meenal had done about 12 hours or something. 12 कुछ घंटे हो गए थे और सूरज निकलने वाला था. And she was tired, and she was cramping and stuff like that. So she wanted to give up, like end the training run. So she stepped aside and called her coach, Alfie, okay, I don't think I can do any more. So we were all happy कि चलो घर चलेंगे अब, right? But coach said, no, you can't go home. Do one thing, start walking. So she started walking. And then after 1 or 2 loops, she's like, I'm cramping so badly, I can't even walk. So he said, okay, cool. So don't go home. There's a tree right there. Sit under the tree. Training run, I think 11 बजे खत्म होगी. तो 11 बजे तक you sit under the tree. Don't go home. So we're like, wow. Okay. And then she sat under the tree for a little bit, for 15 minutes or so. And then by that time we had done 1 or 2 rounds. And then after that, what is she going to do? She stood up and she started walking a little bit again. And then before you know, she was running again. And then she finished her 16 hours.
Wow.
And you're like, wow. It was an eye-opener. Like, crazy. Yeah.
Wow. Like David Goggins says, no, just when you think that you're given everything, your body is over, your mind, you cannot move forward, you're probably only 40% done.
Yeah.
You still have 2.5 times to go.
Yeah. Yeah, what a lesson it was. And she's an elite, like she's representing India. So she feeling like that, feeling like giving up, and then us to watch it so closely and then discover the fact that she still had more. And everybody, I think all of us, but hats off to the coach for suggesting that. पेड़ के नीचे बैठ जाओ, घर नहीं जाओगे.
Excellent. I think a thought comes to my mind about being elite. Most people, only end up seeing your success and this is a very cliched line, of course. When I say success, it could be social success, it could be professional success. Look at that person, he's a CEO, or she's leading this organization, she's a board of director, or she's part of this elite group of runners, or actors, politicians, all of that. And we only see their glamour and all of that, right? The blings. But nobody sees that. And that was the person that probably gave 1,000 times more of what they are doing right now. They have done it 1,000 times or maybe 10,000 times over and over and over again. When you and I and other people who are just commenting and looking at it from the sidelines were just looking and clicking like and watching reels and doing all those kind of things. These people are out there every single day putting in the work, and we only see it after 10 years or 15 years. I mean, hats off to Meenal and countless other high performers who are doing that over and over again.
एक शेर याद आ रहा है मुझे, अगर इजाजत है.
Please, Irshad.
So जो बाहर से देख के लाइक्स और कमेंट्स हम जो करते हैं ना दूर से, इनफैक्ट दो चीजें याद आ रही हैं. You know Diana Nyad, the movie that's out there on Netflix right now.
I'll watch it. Let's put it on the show notes.
Diana Nyad is the lady who swam from Cuba to Florida. It's a great story. So it's a great TED talk, first of all. वो देखना पहले, उसके बाद movie देखना. It's brilliant. There's controversy around it. Some people say that she cheated and stuff, but just watch it. It's just very amazing to watch. वो भी एक रूजवेल्ट का कोट बोलती है, बहुत ही बढ़िया. So I'll actually let the audience as well as you discover Diana Nyad, watch the TED talk and the movie. Okay, तो मैं उसमें नहीं जाऊंगा, मैं शेर सुनाता हूँ दूसरा. मेहरू में हकीकत है साहिल के तमाशाई, हम डूब के समझे हैं दरियाओं की गहराई. जो साहिल पे खड़े हैं ना, वो जितना मर्जी गैस करते रहेंगे, जो मर्जी करते रहेंगे. The one out there fighting, losing, falling and getting up and getting their hands dirty.
Absolutely. Incredible. I think another thing which is a takeaway from this discussion, this podcast, is that just take action. Just take one small action today. Just take another action, the same action maybe tomorrow. Just keep going out there over and over and over again. And before you know it, you will actually end up probably discovering your passion also. So why I want to bring this up is because, when I have these conversations or when I put out a lot of content on social media, LinkedIn, and people ask me that how do you manage so many things, or how do I, like, you have passion, I don't have passion. You are really passionate about fitness, that's why you do this. How can I do this? I get this question a lot of conversation. I mean, trust me, this is coming from a obese category 2 guy, really low on self-esteem, low motivations, high testosterone, all kinds of daag, dhabbe, all of that as a teenager. This is talking 2005. Fitness was not my passion. It was only through the rigors, it was only through pain, it was only through showing up every single day that I realized that this gives me a better high than food or snacks or anything else that can ever give me. Everything else seemed to be artificial at that time. And the kind of oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, I call it the EDSO, that gets released in your body after a hour of workout is irreplaceable. No drug can ever get you there. And that's how you probably discover passion as well. It was never my passion. And similarly, it's the case for, passion for teaching that I have, or coaching, or anything. I love writing. And you can discover yours. It could be for guitar, it could be, I don't know, influencing can be a passion, right? If you are really good at it. But do you think every influencer that you see today who's 1 million follower, 2 million follower, we only see their success, right? Again, they are buying all these fancy things, going to these fancy places. They've reached there when they were creating content back in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 18, 20. They've been doing it for 10 years. They have made those 1,000 really shitty videos first to become an influencer that comes naturally to them. Even actors and everyone. So if you want to really become passionate about something and become successful at it, compartmentalize your time. Again, coming to the same thing. Take out that non-negotiable 30, 40, 50 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours every single day and do it for a really long time. Trust me, the longer you go, the less competition you will have. The harder things you choose, less people will be there. The tougher journeys that you tread on, lesser people will be there, and you will be actually more successful. Just by showing up, just by doing it, you are more successful than 95, 98, 99% of the people. Just choosing the hard part, choosing the difficult journey puts you ahead of 95, 99% of the people. So do hard things in life to become better and elite and successful and all those things that we seek.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
In fact, I was just the point about them creating, shitty videos first. I recently came across a reel, I think, put up by Nitin Kamath, or is it Nikhil Kamath? One of those guys who's doing really well in podcast now. So
Nikhil's What the Fuck podcast. WTF.
Yes. So I think Ranveer Labadia and Mostly Insane, what's her name? Prajakta Kohli.
Prajakta Kohli.
Or
Tanmay Bhatt.
So all these guys were there, and they were showing.
Nusair was there from that 1 minute videos. The fourth guy.
Yeah. I think, and they were all showing their first, their initial first videos.
Oh, really?
And it was really good to see that, because they were all looking like guys who didn't know what they were talking about. Like, imagine Ranveer Lavadi and Prajakta Kohli, who look so natural now, and look at their first videos. It was so inspiring for me. Like, it was motivating for me to watch that. Like, I am still very camera shy. You've been on the camera for a while. I still dread recording introductions and various things. But yeah, those guys look terrible in their first videos. So I think just doing it.
Yeah, I think getting your first really scrappy draft out there, even for your book, and it's a note to self as well. Getting first run or first 10 and then first 100 and then first 1,000 is the important part of the journey, and that's how you learn. Probably you will fall in love only after the 100th video or 100th page or 100th attempt. In fact, the most successful people, like James Dyson, for example, he's a billionaire owner of the namesake Dyson Industries, the famous all kinds of air conditioning and all those equipments, right? And I think girls might just kill us, because what is that? Hair rollers and whatnot, which are $50,000 and whatnot. He made more than 5,700 attempts to make the first vacuum cleaner. So imagine now Dyson vacuum cleaners are the industry standard, the gold standard. And he created it taking like more than 5, 6 years, 7 years, and he made more than 5,700 iterations of that one product before becoming a success. Thomas Alva Edison, first light bulb, right? 10,000 attempts. Imagine. So, I mean, don't seek the elite status, because you won't survive there for an hour if you've not put in the work. Don't seek power if you've not been through the entire journey. Don't seek money from get-rich-quick schemes, because it's not gone. Nothing ever worth its salt will last you if you get it like this. Hence, my philosophy in life is that I want everything slow. I don't want fast success. I don't want fast body. I don't want fast journey. I don't want fast power, fast designations. I want to love the slow life. I want to live the slow life. Get rich slowly. Get fit slowly. Run your long run slow. All of these things, that's the joy, and that's how you appreciate the process.
And I think that's the so this is something I've learned the hard way. When we met last time, we talked about 75 hard and all those challenges, right? So I mean, each to their own, and a few of my friends are doing 75 hard, and that's and it's inspiring to watch them.
Absolutely.
So one thing I'm now beginning to appreciate is the slowness and the longevity of things. So I think the permanence of things is actually dependent upon the longevity of them. So jitne jaldi ko change aayega. So 6-week challenges. They maybe they'll work for you, but मुझे जो लगता है अपने एक्सपीरियंस में, जितना जल्दी वो काम करते हैं, उतनी जल्दी वो काम करना बंद भी कर देते हैं.
Correct.
So if you focus on doing things that you can do forever, 10 years and stuff like that, and of course not saying marry to a particular way if it's not working. Of course, keep evaluating as you go, but don't make temporary changes that you will not be able to sustain.
Correct.
So सस्टेनेबल चेंजेस अगर हम लाने पे और उन आदतों को बिल्ड करने पे काम करेंगे. You talk about longevity a lot. You're writing a book.
Yeah.
That naturally brings us to that. Please tell what your book is going to be about.
I think, like I said, how we started our conversation around corporate fitness. So the central theme is corporate fitness. I have seen multiple cases of early demise of colleagues, and I'm sure a lot of us are now hearing so many cases of early cases where people have not been able to take care of their health and are passing, which should not be the case, because we are the future of our country and the world. Probably we need to live longer, we need to be healthier, and we need to be in the top shape possible. So the mission is about the book also to give a framework to average Joe who's doing 8 to 10 hours of work and travel. How can you get started on your fitness journey? Certain things that will help you to live a longer, but at the same time healthier life as well, and give you a framework. I talk about the 250 fitness rule mantra. I talk about the broad strokes of micronutrients, the role of sleep that plays. I have also interviewed so many experts from around the world on longevity, ultra fitness, endurance. Our common friend, as well as host, the guest from our podcast, Everester. So many individuals have been speaking about, from many, many years. And there are excerpts from those interviews also in the book that gives you how you can actually chart out your own journey on fitness without becoming too boring. So there are anecdotes and stories which will help you to make that mind, and it's going to be a light read, but something that you can, maybe one or two things if you can take away, is that fitness is not really complicated. Don't need to listen to 1,000 influencers that are out there. Everyone's journey is different, and hence there is a very fundamental, foundational concept of actually listening to the sensors of your own body. These are internal and external sensors, which is just getting a annual blood work and blood checkups done. Using some of the technology which is already available, which is measuring your heart rate variability score, sleep scores, some of things which are already there. You don't need to invest extra anything on that. And once you start listening to your body, once you start developing a relationship with the physiological, psychological, and intrinsic self for your body, you will become quite aware. Probably help you discover your passion about your own body also. So it's just that simple. It's around corporate fitness, the 250 fitness rule, and just renewing. I want the love of fitness as well as the love of your job to get reignited, because I strongly feel, and I put content also around it, that it's not your job which is making you sick. It's not your spouse that is making you sick. It's not your company. It's not your country. It's not your economic ability, or not your surroundings. Probably environment a little bit here and there, but that's our culmination. But none of that is responsible for your declining of your health. It's your own sole responsibility. So अगर आपको लगता है कि तुम्हारी कंपनी की वजह से तुम मर रहे हो, या तुम्हारी वाइफ या तुम्हारे हस्बैंड तुम्हारे को अनहेल्दी बना रहे हैं, then you're absolutely wrong. You have all kinds of wrong concepts around it. So wake up. All is not lost. We have to take India and the world in the 21st, 22nd, 23rd century. So make yourself 50 to 70 year long goals. That's the book all about.
Wow. And when does the book come out?
Oh God, that's a good question. I don't make New Year's resolution, but I do make 4 to 5 things, goals for the year. And this is the goal number 1, that I have to bring it out by latest by February or March. So hopefully by March it should be out. Let's see.
So once
I'll obviously need your help and everyone who's listening to us to maybe subscribe. If you've liked any part of this conversation, that book will be a good handbook for you, guide for you to
absolutely. I'll be buying a copy and get it signed.
Oh wow, thank you.
And we'll have another conversation once the book is out.
Thanks. Yeah, please. Yeah. Absolutely.
So this is going to be out in the new year. A lot of people set resolutions and bulk of them fail, right? what would be your advice on how should people go about avoiding the pitfalls and setting goals and achieving their goals, crushing their goals in 2024?
Excellent question, Vipin. I think the number one thing everyone makes a New Year resolution is the fitness goal, that they want to lose X amount of kilos, usually 10, 15 kilos is what they, or I will start going to the gym. Hence you see a flip in gym subscriptions. My only easy to understand and funda that can help you is probably set yourself a slightly tough and long goal for 2024. So let's say if weight loss is your goal, then probably set yourself that I want to lose 20 kilos, but at the same time I want to gain 7 kgs of muscle. Or if you have been a 10k runner, or you just say that I want to run a 5k, then set yourself a half marathon goal that you want to achieve in June or July rather than the end of this year.
Right.
Set yourself a really, really, really tough goal that makes you shit your pants. Set that goal, reach out to a qualified coach or a gym or whoever who has a degree or some kind of certification, who has been through the journey. Reach out to those people and just follow the 250 fitness rule, where I keep saying this. It's very easy. You just need to work out for 1 hour a day for 5 hours a week. So 5 hours a week for 50 weeks, that's 250 hours in the entire 365, 366 days.
Right.
To 2024 we'll have 366 days. So you just need to have 250 hours. Track it, just generate it like Vipin does. You will start seeing results. So 250 fitness, really big ass, big hairy audacious goal. And reaching out to coaches, mentors, teachers who can help you in the journey. Just these 3 things. Trust me, you will be the fittest version of your entire life. 2025-4 is your year. Let's get started. I would flip the question and ask this the same question to you. What are some of your pieces of advice to set 2024 fitness goals and achieve them?
Right. So I honestly, like, you're a coach, and I don't feel qualified to give advice, but I'll share with you what my idea is for 2024. It's actually quite the opposite of what you just said, which is, so mine's going to be to tone down my goals and start super humble, because I mean, also depends on where you are in your journey. So I'm feeling. So I was doing a running streak of 500 odd days until June. So the streak broke in the month of June. I ran 5 kilometers every day and 21 kilometers on the weekend. And the streak broke in June. Since then, I haven't run at all. Right?
Okay.
I had some back issue, which I got diagnosed as some hip issue. It's not a back issue. But then it's nothing major. It'll be fixed. And then I had a surgery. So I've had the most sedentary, 6 months of my life ever, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. And it feels crazy to be on this side of it, because for the last many years, over a decade, my probably daily step count would be 15,000 or 13,000 steps or something like that. So I help some people with nutrition because I'm a certified nutrition coach. And when I'm understanding about their lifestyle and I see their step count, 2,500 steps in a day or 3,000 steps, I was perplexed earlier. Ki ye kaise hota hai? How, like, do you not even go to the washroom? Like, how do you manage this?
Yeah.
But having been so sedentary myself, it gives me a really good peek into a completely, unfit and different life. It's insane. And I never wish this on anybody. So yeah, I've been on the fitter side and I've been on the unfit side now, and I have a very good perspective. And I'm sort of feeling now that I'm starting afresh, and I want to weed out all the inaccuracies, like all the inconsistencies and the mistakes I was making in my training earlier, like lack of mobility and various other things in strength training. So now I want to do things by the book, even if it takes longer. So I have goals which are ambitious, but I want to do them the right way now. And more than anything, I'm going to focus on the process, that I have to get this workout in, and just stick in the box that I'm consistently doing stuff rather than pushing myself on. And it may be not the right approach for everybody, but I'm tempted to sort of remove time frames and just focus on getting this right, no matter how long it takes. Like, I have to get this right.
Excellent.
Even I don't know what shape that's going to take, but
Yeah.
let's see as we go on
Wow.
into the new year.
Excellent. I think I'm sure audience would have, if someone has stayed this long, thank you so much for seeing a jam between
Yeah.
the two podcasts. It's been a complete, I've just loved the session.
Yeah,
So many
me too.
different diverse conversations and ideologies.
Yeah,
And what better way to conclude it than have completely opposing views.
absolutely.
Thank you so much from Trifantry Chronicles.
Thank you from the Find Your Out team. And
Thank you so much, everyone. If you've tuned in till now, continue to train, endure, conquer in your life.
Yeah. And I think we're just getting started. We will have another
More,
conversation soon.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.